All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Yelena, and I'm a Cognos Analytics Administrator for Data 605. So let's get started. The purpose of tonight's session is to help you get started with Cognos Analytics. We have quite a big agenda. It's going to be a long session, but please remember you will need to watch the recording more than once, or at least parts of the recording. You'll have the recording and the slides. All right. So I'm going to show you how to access the software, how to get started, interface navigation. We're going to talk about data set versus data module, data preparation, data exploration, and more. Okay. So you might be wondering what's Cognos Analytics? It's a service. It's a self-service with intuitive web-based interface. The data was uploaded, and while the data was uploaded, it was analyzed for relationships among the column. And Cognos extracts the useful information about the data. It supports the data exploration, and you don't need to write any code, right? You just drag and drop data into Canvas, you select visualization type and drag and drop the data. That's it, right? And also, you will get the recommendation for visualization based on the visualization that you're currently looking at. So you might build an interactive dashboards and stories, which I'll show you in the next session, right? And you can also show the data for individual visualizations, and in general, you can do reports, but that's not covered in this class, okay? Uh, Here are some do's and don'ts. Please do not attempt to change your Cognos password, because then if you lose it, there is no way for me to recover it without actually recreating your profile, which means that all your work will be gone, right? So, and also me and Oscar, both of us need to be able to log into your account at any time if we need to troubleshoot something, right? Please don't do it. As you're accessing Cognos, please make sure you're not connecting to the employer VPN. They may block access, all right? And please avoid using browser back button because you may end up losing the work. Remember that deletions cannot be undone. So if you delete the data set, unfortunately, all visualizations that use the data as a source will be gone, permanently gone. You can't restore it, all right? And please try to use your personal laptop and connect to your home network, right? Sell your work and start working early. Close a file or close all files that you have opened before you log out. And remember, do not log out by closing the browser tab, okay? You need to physically log out, and I'll show you. But most of you are wondering how you access, okay? If you go back in your classroom, right? So here is the classroom, and I'm logged in one of the sessions. It does not matter as a student. So when you click here on the content, right? Then in the left panel here, you see the menu, right? When you scroll down, right under Unit 8, you're gonna see Virtual Lab Environment tab. You're gonna expand the tab and see this. This is where you do Virtual Lab access. This is where the Cognos shortcut is, okay? And also in the same area, you're gonna find where you submit the Salesforce ticket. If you run into an issue with login, or if you want to ask questions like, oh, how can I use Cognos Analytics to do something, right? For example, how do I use Cognos Analytics to build a histogram, things like that, right? You submit the Salesforce case, okay? Does it make sense, right? So this is where you access. You click on this. This is where you submit the Salesforce case, and this is how to access Cognos Analytics. You click on the shortcut, right? And it will launch. What that would do, it's gonna launch this page. Okay? This is a login page. What you're gonna put here your university username. If you don't know your university username, no worries. You know your student email, right? Even if you enroll in the class, even if you're also a faculty, or even if you're UMGC staff, still you should have the email that ends with student.umgc.edu, right? So it's that email that ends with student.umgc.edu, and the first part of that email, right? I mean, for the faculty teaching the class, it's different process. I usually let them know their ID. But for you, for students, right? You have this email that ends with this student.umgc.edu, and you're gonna take the first portion of this email. See, that's gonna be your username. Everyone's password is welcome. The password must have an uppercase letter, so W is uppercase. It must have a number. So if you look at it on your keyboard, number 3 is above letter E. So that's why I put number 3 here. Welcome. And then it has a special character at the end. This is how you remember, okay? So then when you log in, this is what you will see. I'm logged in to Cognos right now. The account that I'm using, it's a demo account, but it has the same permissions as your student account. So when you log in, you're gonna see this homepage. Well, I have to say there is a set of videos. The interface changed slightly from last semester, just slight change, not much. But see here, you have this welcome tile. It's just gonna say welcome Helena, right? Then it has an assistant that you can launch and ask questions about your data, right? Then here, where you can click and to see the set of tutorials, sort of things you can watch at your leisure to learn more about the software. What else do you see here? Recent, as a file that you had recently opened, right? My content, this is your work, areas that only you can access, right? You're going to be saving everything to my content. You're not going to be saving anything in the team content, right? You're going to be saving all work to my content, okay? Okay, so if you're getting the error message, Andrea, if you're getting the error message, then you need to submit the ticket, okay? Please submit the ticket, okay? Okay, so Oscar is going to work with you. Okay, so this is my content, this is all my work, right? Nobody else can see it, just you. Or maybe an admin can see something, but don't worry. All right, team content. So this is the team content. What is this? These files were shared with you. There's some pre-installed stuff like calendar, sample, etc. This is pre-installed. But what I put for you, this is the data that I'm going to use today. If you like to follow along as you watch, it's here for you, and you'll need to make a copy, and I'll show you how to copy data from the team content. So here, this folder is data for your assignments, and it's organized into subfolders. So you have the data for the quiz, you have data for week 3 through 5, and week 6 through 8. So this is what you're gonna do. To use data for your quiz, you're gonna click on this folder here, and you're gonna click here on this ellipsis, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna select copy to. And where are you going to copy this data to? To my content, right? You cannot work with data from the team content. You have to, everything must be copied to my content, right? I selected my content and I'm going to select copy. What will that do? It's going to put the data to my content. It put this data insurance.csv to my content, okay? So remember, this is a data set. It's straight data that was uploaded as CSV file or as an Excel file. I cannot make any changes to the data. I cannot add any calculations. It's just a flat file, okay? So you've got team contents, you got samples. Here that was pre-installed. What's favorites? Well, sometimes you might have a file that you access very often. So you can just mark this card and it's gonna add this to the favorites, see? So you can do that. That's one of the recent features that was added, okay? So you may notice here there is a menu and the menu says home, new. You can use this new menu to create your data module and the dashboard, etc. You can do it here, but if you select this from, if you use it, if you do it from this menu, you will have to specify the data source, right? But I'm gonna do it differently. I'm gonna do it from this menu. When I create a data module, I'm gonna use this menu here so that I know for sure which data set I'm using, right? I'm gonna use that. So I usually do not use this here. Then you can click on a recent on a content that will take you to this page, right? And you can also look at the recent, and it will list what I had recently accessed. At the moment, I don't have anything recently accessed. I cleared everything before the demo, okay? Or you can also use this menu here to create new things, let's say, right? Uh, if you notice here, you have two options. You can toggle between tiles view and list view, right? You can also create subfolders in my content if you want to organize the data, if you want to organize the files by assignments. Like for example, you can have a separate folder for assignment 3, separate folder for assignment 6, etc., right? You can filter. So if you have a lot of files, you have a choice. You can filter to see just the data, or you can filter to see just the explorations, right? Of course, I don't have any at the moment. And you can filter by modified date, or also you can search for the file name. That's gonna matter when you have a lot of files. At the moment, it doesn't, but you can also sort the files the way you want in here. And please note, if I apply the filter here, right, when I go back to my home page, it will also be applied here. See, they added in the home page, you can see my content, team content. You can access the tabs from my home page. It's a little difference from the video. I'm thinking about re-recording the video, the first video, okay? So that's the interface, right? And you go back. And also, if you apply the filters here, when you log out, when you log back in, it's gonna remember it, all right? Another thing is that when you're done working, do not close the tab because that does not log you out. It only disconnects you, okay? So what you'll need to do is you need to log out from Cognos. Then you're gonna need to log out from this workstation here, right? There should be an option to, you're gonna log out. In other words, you're not gonna be closing the tab, okay? Because if you close the tab, you're gonna disconnect. And if you disconnect it, sometimes you may have to wait for half an hour before you can log in again. All right? It used to be longer, but it was changed for half an hour. If you accidentally close the tab, it's possible that you might not be able to log in for half an hour because your session is still there and it's going to be idle. Okay? And it will terminate in half an hour. All right? I hope it makes sense. So that's just a welcome page. And that's an open menu, right, that I showed you. But I usually do not create it from the open menu. I'll show you, I'll do it differently. But anyways, so I explained to you what the content tabs are, right? And so favorites are the files that you mark for quick access, in other words, right? I showed you where to access data for assignments. I showed you how to copy data to the My content. Now this is our data that we're gonna use tonight for the demo. The data is on insurance claims. It has a customer information, such as the state and some of the demographics, such as employment status, etc. Then it has an information on the vehicle that the customer drives, information on a car claim, on a coverage type, and we use that information to estimate the total claim amount. Please note that some records in the data are missing values. Do you see those blinks, right? It's going to be important in analysis. See those missing values? They're going to be represented as null in the data when it's loaded. And we're going to discuss several approaches you may use to handle those values, missing values, okay? So now I mentioned two terms. I mentioned dataset and data module. For your quiz, maybe for the first couple assignments, you'll be working straight from the data set, right? So when you go straight to the data set, Jesus, you're going to be just creating the exploration from this menu, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the data module instead. Why? Because I want to show you how to apply filters and I want to show you how to add the calculations, right? You cannot add calculated columns to the data set. You have to do it, you should do it in a data module, okay? You can do it in a data exploration, but the problem is, what if I want to reuse my calculated column everywhere else? Suppose that I have 5 dashboards or 5 exploration files, and there is a calculation that I want to be able to use in all of them. So you would probably want to add that calculated column to the data module. You define the filters in the data module. Sometimes you may want to hide certain columns from users, right? So you do it in the data module. You might have a column that you want to use in calculation, but you don't want the user to see it directly in visualizations, right? So you use the data module. Here I spelled out the differences, right? And you're gonna have this presentation, right? So in the data module, you can also preview the data, right? But the data set, it was basically uploaded, or it can also be created from data module. Just know that. All right. So, and for both of them, once you delete the data, all of the files, all of the exploration where you use the data as a source will become invalid, even if you upload the data with the same name. Nope, you cannot fix it. Just keep that in mind. That's it. That's what it is. So, how do we create the data module? And here I'm repeating again, do not delete the data set. If you delete the data set that you used to create the data module, you're in trouble, okay? So now claims and weather data, let's create a data module. I'm gonna click here and I'm gonna click create data module. Why do I do it from here instead of doing it from the menu? Because if I do it from the menu, I will have to specify which data I use, right? But what if I have a lot of files here, right? So now for sure, I know that I want to use this file. So I just click create data module and it picked up for me. It knows what data I'm trying to use, right? It's using the data as a source. If I did not, if I use if I used my menu instead, I would have to select the source here. It's another step, right? So, but what is this? Let's take a look at this. This is the data set that was used to create this data module. And in this data set, those are the columns that we have. Let's click here. If I click here, it's going to show the preview here. So those are the columns. And you might say, wait a minute, Elena just showed a screenshot of the data. There was no row ID column in the data, right? That column was added for me. It's just a row number. And why the heading is grayed out? Because that column is hidden. So it's not visible to users for analysis, but it's here, which can be used for calculations, etc. Right? So here, all of the columns and different icon represent the different column data type. Like for example, see if I click on an arrow next to the gender, it's gonna tell me the gender values, male and female. See that? This is a text categorical column. Employment status, I can click here and see the values, right? And same thing for the claim reason. But for claim reason, do you see this null? That's how you know that you have a categorical column that might be missing some values. See that I expanded to see the values and I see null here. Null stands for missing value. So somebody asked me, how do I know? So that's simple for categorical column. You just see what values the column may have, right? See, like policy type does not have any missing values, but this is only for the categorical, okay? For the numeric, we're gonna have to do something different, and I'll show you. But first of all, take a look at this. See this null? Null means that this column here, this row is missing data here, missing value, okay? So, and the columns they have properties. How do I see the properties of the column? Like for example, this is the total claim amount. I can click here and I can click on the properties. Okay, that will open properties windows here. Column label. Label is basically what is displayed in visualization. That's a label. Expression is which column in a Excel file is being pulled into this column of the data module. It's a measure, right? Aggregate, we're going to change something here right now because aggregate property tells us how the data for that column is being summarized. If I look at the claim amount by the state, I don't want to see the sum. I want to see the average, right? So I'm going to go ahead and change it. Why am I changing it in the data module? Because I want to look at the average everywhere, regardless if it's a data exploration or if it's a dashboard. I don't want to be changing it each time I analyze this column, right? So I just change it global in the data module, okay? Now, what is this? That's a data type. And if you scroll, there are additional properties, such as you can put description, etc., right? You click on a screen tip is basically if you add a screen tips text, when you hover over that column in visualizations, that it should be displayed. But I'll leave everything as is. Okay, well, for expressions, we will have to edit one of them today. All right. Yelena has been telling you to save the work, and she hasn't done so yet. She says it says new data module. It means that I have not named it yet. And also, if you see this asterisk here, it means that my latest changes have not been saved. So let's click on the floppy disk to save it. And I'm gonna just say something like claims and weather data module. Oh, see it cached. Okay, now, why do you think the save button is grayed out? It's because I have selected the team content. I need to select my content. I cannot save anything to team content. I'm saving it to my content and I'm going to click on save. So now I know the asterisk is gone. It means that I saved the work. There are some buttons here, undo and redo, that lets you undo and redo your recent changes. I believe it's up to 20 recent changes, and also up to the moment when you reopen the file. So like, for example, if I close it right now, when I reopen it, I won't be able to undo any changes that I made right before I closed it. Okay, hope it makes sense. Okay. Validation is you want to check if you created a bunch of calculations. Before you save each calculation, you want to validate the syntax, and this will also validate the data module as a whole to make sure there are no errors, right? Because sometimes when you create the calculation, you make a syntax error, something like that. All right, so you might be wondering, how do you hide the column? You click here, see that there is an option, show to users or hide to users. So that's where you show and hide the column. There is a difference between show and remove. Remove will delete the column completely and you won't be able to use it in calculations. But if something that you want to use in calculations, but you don't want the end user to see, you're going to hide it. Okay, so that's that. Now we'll go back here. I just spelled some of that out for you. You're gonna have this presentation. I showed you how to save the data module, and we went over some of the properties, right? So next we're gonna talk about the data preparation. What's preparation? You can add filters. You can hide certain columns on the view. You may change the properties, and I just changed one property. Remember the aggregation property? You may handle missing values. You may handle outliers, add the calculations, create data groups, navigation paths. But please note that Cognos Analytics does not automatically prepare data for most of the visualizations. So if there are missing values, you probably need to handle them. Okay. All right. So this is how to show hide column, right? This is straightforward, right? Well, and why would you want to hide? Sometimes it could be somebody's name, or it could be credit card number or social security number. Or the column could have a bunch of missing values that you might find not useful, etc. There are multiple reasons. Adding filters. Filter specifies the conditions that the row must meet to stay in the data, right? So to define a filter, you're gonna build an expression. This filter can be defined at a table level. So you have you check for the values of multiple columns, let's say, right? Or a single column level. You may filter by single column, or you may write complex expression. There are two types of filters, and I'll show you each. Embedded filter, the filter applies immediately on a spot. Or there is also selectable filters that it does not filter the rows immediately, but you can specify when you want to use it in visualizations. Like for example, suppose it in a lot of my visualization, I want to look at the I want to look at the personal claim type for the small vehicle. I want to look at it a lot, so I can define my filter in data module and apply as needed. So that's what selectable is. So let's take a look. Let's first let's look at the embedded filter. Suppose that I want to filter out all rows where effective date is not specified. So how do I do that? I can click on this properties here and go to the filters from there, right? If I go to the properties of this whole thing, right? Oh, sometimes I don't see where it is. Okay, you can click on properties. Oh, you have to scroll properties. Right? You can do that. You can go through it this way. And there's a filter tab, right? But instead of selecting a column, what I want to do is I want to use the expression editor. I like to use the expression editor always. I can click on add filter, right? And what's an expression editor here? First of all, I need to specify the filter name, and I'm going to name it as effective to date, right? Okay. So now what? Here I see my columns. Those are the columns in the data. And then I see the operators that I can do in my columns. So here I want to say effective to date. So I can just find the effective to date. And if I don't see it right away, I can do the search here. Effective to date, I can drag and drop the column here. Then if I know what my operator is in this case, the operator is going to be is not missing, right? Scissors is not missing. I can drag and drop. Or also I could type it, right? If I know the spelling, I could type it. Now here, this is information about this is not missing operator. So it says that it determines if the value is defined in the data. So if it's null, it's not defined, right? It's gonna filter out those rows. I said that you need to validate, always do that. So here for the expression, there is a validate. And if you don't see this green check mark at the bottom, do not save the expression because it's going to make your data module invalid, right? Before you save it, please make sure that the expression is valid, okay? Now, to save it, you can go to OK. But suppose that you forgot to check if the expression is valid and you click on save. Well, not a big deal at the moment because you can undo the latest change, right? You can undo that. Or you could also go back to the filter. So you can click on view or edit filter and change it here. You can edit it here, okay? But please make sure that what you enter is valid. Now this filter got applied because if you look at it, you no longer have the missing values in effective date, right? You no longer have this. You saw a bunch of nulls and it's gone. Well, apparently the records that had missing effective to date were also missing data in other columns. That's taken care of. But now I want to look at another filter type, and another filter type is gonna look at the policy type contains personal and vehicle size contains small, right? So how do we do that? This is a different type of filter. that is selectable. So you have to do it here. See, this is here because it's a different, it's a selectable filter. And what am I trying to do? I want to say that policy type. So let's find the policy type in here, and I'm gonna drag and drop policy type. Then the function is what contains, right? And see if I type it here, it pops up. It's an operator contains. Then it tells me that in parentheses, I have to put my string. But remember that the comparison is case sensitive. So I have to put this one personal, right? Personal. And then this is personal. I put it in a single quotes. If you have this expression, or if you wrote this expression somewhere else, and if you try to do copy and paste, you need to make sure that you're not using Microsoft Word quotes, okay? So now, and, so what does and do? And, you use and because you want both conditions to be true. You want the policy type to contain personal, and another one, you want the vehicle size to be small, right? So if you look at this, if you find the vehicle size, see this, you see this value. So let's drag and drop, and vehicle size, right? Contains small. Remember, this is case sensitive. The string comparison is always case sensitive. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do? Am I ready to click save? I don't think so. What you need to do is you need to always validate the expression. It's valid. And what you also could do is you have this on Prettify, right? It just formats it, makes it look nicely. Okay. So now I'm not done yet. Very important. I have to save it. I need to use the descriptive name. Okay. Personal policy for small vehicle. I'll show you why later. Okay. Always use descriptive name, because when you get into explorations, there was no way to see how this filter was defined if I don't use descriptive name. I'm gonna click on OK. And what what have I forgotten to do? I forgot to do something very important. You see this star here? It means that Yelena has not saved the work. So she better does, okay? Now, okay, I showed you selectable filter, and if you look at the column, the values have not been filtered. Why? Because, see, if we find vehicle size, the values have not been filtered because I created the selectable filter. See? So if you find the vehicle size here, oops, I need to know how to spell. Vehicle size, you select it, it will also be selected here, but it's not filtered. See this? I see small and I see mid-size. Why did not filter? Because it's a selectable filter. I will have a choice to select when to use it. And note here, it's also added here. It shows under it right above the columns. Okay, it's gonna show right above the column. So we done that. I showed you filters, right? Here, it's not something that you're gonna usually do, but let's just for the sake of example, let's show how to fill in the missing income values with the column average. But in theory, what you would try, if I was able to write the code, right? If I was able to write the code, what I would have done is that, well, I know that there could be more than one claim for a customer, right? I would have checked if the customer has submitted another claim, and maybe in another claim there is an income that is not missing, right? So I could use that to fill in the missing value, right? Maybe, the same customer could have multiple claims. If I could do it programmatically just by writing code, I would have checked if the customer has another claim. That's how I would have done it. But in this case, we are not writing any code, but just for the sake of example, we can try this. We can set the column I'll show you how to set the missing value to column average. It's just an example, okay? But that's not what you would normally do because it skips the data. So let's go to the income column, right? And it has missing values. I just know that. So you're gonna click, you're gonna need to go to properties, right? So if I select the column, my properties should show the properties for that column, okay? Make sense? So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna click on expression and I'm gonna view, I'm gonna edit the expression. Uh, how you will do it is that there is a construct called if else. So I'm gonna have to go here and it's in here, the construct. And I can drag and drop if then else, okay? So what I'm trying to say is this, if income, okay, this is a condition, income is missing, right? Is missing. Then I want to set to an average. Otherwise, if it's not missing, else I'm gonna keep it as is, right? But if it's missing, I'm just gonna say average, right? Average. And what's average? Income, right? That's it. So now I'm gonna validate this expression. Always validate because it's very easy to make syntax errors, right? Oops. Delete the extra lines. Not that it matters. Okay, so if I can also do the not preview. Preview doesn't make sense in this case, but I want to prettify. It's gonna indent it nicely for me. Okay. So now I'm just gonna save it. So it just changed how the income column is being read from the Excel file. That's what it did here. Okay. So this is just that. And then also there is a video on how to handle the missing value for the text column. It's on a claim type. If the value is missing, in the video, I'll show you how to set it to the string other. I don't quite remember if it's other or if it's unknown, but anyway, for the categorical column, you can set it to specific value. Like if it's missing, you can set it to unknown or you can set it to other, something like that. Right? There is a video on that. Okay. What's a calculation? Calculation is just an expression. It's a calculated column. You use the combination of columns. It could be a single column, an expression or combination of columns to create new column. Or you could use also another calculation as part of the calculation. Right? It may contain the predefined function and operators. Like for example, it could be the summary that returns the overall average of something, right? But it's gonna be a new column. What's this? Yes, exactly, exactly. The when you replace the missing value with the column average, it does skew the data. But in this case, I'm just showing you an example. It's just an example of how you would change the expression. Let's say it this way. Yes. If I could do it programmatically, I would check if that person has another record, right? Maybe another record for that person has an income, something like that. Or maybe have a specific value to designate a missing value, something like that. Okay. Yes, but for the for the other column, right, for the text, you can just use specific value to stand for missing value, like other or unknown, right? Okay, so but this is the calculations. Use the calculation editor to build the calculations. Like in this case, I want to do, suppose that I have something monthly premium, and maybe in my analysis, I'm working with the annual premium. How can we do that? We can create a calculation, right? So I can just go to here, and there are two types of calculations. The embedded calculation, it will store the value with each data row. And there is also standalone calculation that perhaps you can return a single value and store it, and you store it once. You don't store it in each data row, right? But in this case, I want to let's go look at the monthly premium, right? I can click here, and I can do create calculations, and I want to use calculation editor, right? So what I want to do is, let me see, I want to say annual premium, right? And here you can change which column you use. You don't necessarily have to use the column that you clicked on, okay? But in this case, I want to do this multiplied by 12, okay? So what this will do, it will just create an annual premium. You're going to create annual premium column, and it's going to be the monthly premium multiplied by 12. Always hit the validate, even if it's something simple. It's still, you may still make an error, right? Okay, click OK, and what it will do is it's going to add a new column, and it's going to be adding a new column to the front. See this? It's that. But if I want to create something like if I want to have an average income something calculation, I don't want to store it with each row. I want to store it once and separately, right? How do we do this? Well, I can click here, and I can select the calculation here. And what it's gonna be? Well, it's gonna be average, right? Oops, average, uh, uh, average. And here I would drag and drop because I'll show you why. So let's find this income. I'm gonna drag and drop in this case. Why am I doing it? Because the way it's gonna do it, what is this? Uh, we have a file, claims and weather data exploration file, and the file, Excel file has tabs. This is the name of the tab, of the first tab, where it's reading the data from. And this is income. See, I like to drag and drop because if for some reason, if it has to use the tab name, right? And maybe I don't know what the tab name is. So if I drag and drop, I always get it right. Okay. So now let's also do validate. It's correct, right? So what's gonna happen now? First of all, I have to name it. Let's do average income. Or you can also keep C. This is a convention. Uh, Average. Okay. Hope I spelled it right. Okay, so I have an average income calculation, but this is gonna be a little different. It's gonna store it as a standalone. See this? So there are two types of calculations, embedded and standalone, okay? Now what else? So this is the calculations, and I'll showing you here how to create them, okay? Oh, what's that? Oh, for earlier calculations, yes, that's a good question. We have to drag and drop for earlier calculation, but Elena was too confident. Elena just knew it. But wait, I thought I did drag and drop. I did. I probably did drag and drop because that way I'm gonna know the straight, yes. But sometimes I get too confident, but you have to get it right. See what I'm saying? Sometimes if you don't get it right, you're gonna have a problem. You don't want to have a problem, correct? This is the standalone calculation, okay? Next thing is a data group. Well, I'm gonna use a different example for this one. When you receive your feedback for assignment, you get in the numeric grade, right? Like 85%, 90%, 95%. But when you go to your student academic record, you see the letter grade, right? So this is a good example of the binning, because the grade 90 to 100 is an A. 80 to 89.99999 is a B, right? So this is an example of data groups, binning, right? You can create the grouping for numeric columns, and also you can create the grouping for the columns with text values. So let's create for number of policies column, like it shows here. So what do I need to do is I need to find the column in here, and where is the number of policies here? Number of policies. What you can do is you have to click here, and you're gonna select create data group. Here it is. What's gonna happen is that by default it's gonna break the values into 5 groups. Okay, by default it's breaking into the 5 groups. I'm gonna stay with the defaults, but in general you can change the group boundaries and you can change the number of groups. Okay, it would also help that suppose that I would have some odd data where it's 2000 groups, right? It will help because it's gonna put it into 8 or and above. See? So that's one reason you want, if the data is really skewed, or if you have like a super large or super small value, right? So it's gonna put it 8 or above, less than 3, etc. So see, this is a label that it's gonna show in the group column value. All right. So now I can leave the default name or I can change name. So next thing is I'm gonna click on create. Very easy, right? The groups are there for you, and if you go, it's gonna add this to the front all the time. See? For categorical columns, it's a little different because the groups are not added for you. You would have to create them. So like for example, let's say I want to group this, it's a policy. So you have a bunch of values. I want to group personal under one category, special under another category, right? So let's define the data group on a, it's in a policy, right? Policy, let's search for policy here. Okay, so this is a column here. So I'm gonna click here and I'm gonna click on a create data group. What is different here? There are no predefined groups. I need to create them myself. Here, this is a set of values that the column may have. I have to click on the new group and then I'm gonna name it corporate, right? Corporate. This is a corporate. Now I'm gonna add values to that group. How do I do it? I can select all of the corporate, right? I use the shift key. Okay, and I'm click on this arrow. Okay, now I'm gonna do the new group and I'm gonna name it as personal, and I'm just gonna select these guys here and I'm gonna add this, right? Next one, new group, and I'm gonna call it special, right? And I'm gonna add my remaining 3 values here. Shift. There we go, right? So no more values remain. And I'm just gonna click on, I'm gonna keep the default name, no problem, create. What's gonna happen right now? It's gonna add this column, always add this to the front, okay? This is a column. And this column will be visible in exploration. But wait a minute, Yelena forgot to do something. See this asterisk? Yelena has been telling to save the work, but is she doing it? She better does. Okay? Now, that's that. Then what's a navigation path? Sometimes you want to be able to drill down through your data. Well, let's look at data 605 example. You want to look at the average grade for assignment 1, right? Then you want to look at the average grade by the semester. Then within the semester, perhaps you want to look at the average grade by the session, something like that, right? Some data is hierarchical. Like you may want to look at the by date and by hour, by minute, right? This is a hierarchical data, or sometimes it could be by country, then by cities within the country, right? But in our case, we can create a hierarchy by state and then location code within the state. So there are 4 states in the data. and location code is rural, urban, suburban. So let's go to here and we're gonna create the navigation path. So see this navigation path, and it will be used in visualizations. But what I want is this. I want the state, right? I search for it, I drag and drop, and then I want the location code. I put it under. Okay, I'll keep the name as is, and I'm gonna click on a okay. And I will show you when we get to exploration where I use it. Okay, I'm gonna go save it. I saved it. Did I do all of this? Yes, so now we're gonna move on to data explorations from this data module. Okay, I'm done with editing and I'm gonna close it, okay? Oh, well, for the NPL, well, this is later. The NPL will be in the natural language will be covered in when we cover assistant, okay? But now we're gonna do, yes, you can use, I'll show you, there is an assistant feature in exploration, okay? But for right now, let's close this data module. I've made changes, I saved all my changes and I close it. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a data exploration. The exploration allows us to get insights about our data. But what it's not going to do is it's not going to do the data presentation. It's not going to do the story. We're going to cover stories in the next class. But you, for this, for exploration, you won't be able to modify the visualization's properties, such as appearance, colors. You won't be able to add text, etc., right? But, okay, so there are multiple ways to create an exploration, but now for sure, I know that I want to use this data module. I can just click here and from this menu, select create exploration, okay? I can do that, but if I use the create new exploration from the menu, I would have to specify my data module, okay? Okay. Well, the question is it mandatory to create the data module? Well, it's not required in your first assignment, but look, the problem is here. In the data set, you cannot add the calculations. You cannot add the filters, right? I recommended using data module because you can preview data, you can add the filters, you can add the calculations. Then you don't have to like redefine your calculations each time you create new data exploration file or each time you create a new dashboard. It saves you a lot of time. Or also sometimes the data may have some columns that you don't want your user to see, right? So you hide those columns in data module. You do the pre-processing in data module. So I would say, yes, you create the right, well, even if the assignment does not call for it, just remember that it's there. But eventually the assignment will call for it. So I just started from data module, okay? Well, one of the assignment eventually will call for it. Okay, so I created new exploration. Let's see what's happening here. It's gonna give me the starting point. It's gonna suggest, based on the data, what I might be interested in, right? Those are the possible fields, possible columns that I might be interested in predicting. In my case, I'm interested in the total claim amount. So I'm gonna click on the total claim amount. And what it's gonna do, it's gonna show me the relationships. So in the dark pin here, this represents the total claim amount from my data. Other pins here are the columns that have a relationship with 10% or above strength. The relationship strength is 10% or above. If it's under 10%, those are omitted, okay? So, but then when I hover over this line, I can see the relationship strength. If there's a total claim amount and location code, the relationship strength is 67%, right? And also, by looking at that, I can click here and Cognos is going to provide me the suggested visualizations. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to add this. It's going to add the visualization as a card. See, this is one way to add your visualizations. I can just do this, right? I can edit from here, right? And then I can also select couple columns, and it's going to give me suggested visualizations for those two columns. That's what it means in the assignment when you ask the initial visualizations, and I don't remember the exact wording, but those are the initial visualizations, that's the suggested visualization, see? So this is the total claim amount by location code. You can just add, see? This was a good, those are just the starting points. And you can click on show more to see more, all right? So how does it know? It analyzed your data, and based on that, it's gonna just show you what it wants to look at, right? What it suggests you to look at. Well, what else do we have here? Well, you can edit this diagram. At the moment, it only shows the primary relationship, so the columns that have direct relationship with total claim amount. I can also look at the secondary relationships. It means that the relationships among those columns directly, right? Like marital status and income, right? And if I hover, it shows the relationship strength as 20% between those two guys, okay? So those are the secondary, those are the relationships among the predictors. Let's say it this way, okay? And here you can also select, like at the moment, the relationships with strengths under 10% are omitted. You can also change it to 25 perhaps, right? It's going to omit the relationships with strength under 25, right? Or you can then reset to original to get back to original diagram, okay? So now what? Elena has been telling you to do what? To save, and she has not done so. So click here on this floppy disk, and we're gonna name this exploration as claims and weather exploration, and weather exploration. And now, okay, the question for yourself, why the save button is grayed out? Because you have this team content selected. You need to select on my content. So remember, this demo account has the same permissions as your account. So you're gonna see it grayed out until you select my content. You're gonna click on save, okay? So now what? Suppose that I'm working on looking at my visualizations, and I want to go back to that diagram that you saw when you started the exploration. You can go back here, see? It's available in your card, just know that it's here, okay? So I created these visualizations here, average total claim amount, right? If I click here, this is the source. So what is the source? This is a data module that's used as a data source for this visualization type. For the visualizations in this exploration. Okay, this is the data that's used as a source. It's possible to use more than one source in the same exploration, but we just stick with one. What do you see here? The navigation hierarchy that we created, right? This is the calculations that I created. See this? I have my group columns. Why would I want to recreate all of this each time I create new exploration file and new dashboard? I created once in the data module, right? And that's a filter that I could apply at any time I want to, right? And I've got all those columns, the same concept, but look at this. If I click on the coverage, I see the values that this text column may have, right? So those are the columns, and all calculations that I created will show here, all data groups, etc. Okay? And remember, I changed the properties. For the total claim amount, I changed to show the average. It's here, it's showing me the average. Okay? So now suppose that I'm taking a quiz. And the quiz asks me a question, what is an average total claim amount for personal auto? What is the average total claim amount for personal auto? How am I going to answer this question? So this is a visualization that shows average total claim amount, right? So when I click on the fields here shows me what data is visualized. If you see this asterisk, it means that for that visualization type, you must specify something in this field to see visualization. Here is a local filter. So if I need to, one way to find out what's an average total claim amount for personal auto, right? You would drag and drop this value here. That's it, see? You can drag and drop this. What it will do is it's gonna take the policy type and it's gonna select the personal auto. That's one way. Or you could also, I'm gonna remove this filter. You can also drag and drop the filter here and select the value, right? This is for the categorical. So now I can answer the quiz question, right? But let's make it a little bit more complex. Okay, let's delete this, remove the filter. So now I'm gonna say, what is the average total claim amount if the claim reason is collision or hail? How am I gonna answer this question? The question is, what is the average total claim amount if collision, if the claim reason is collision or hail? How do I answer this question? I'm gonna drag and drop here for the filters. I'm gonna drag and drop the claim reason, and then I'm gonna select here collision, hail, done. And it will adjust this value, okay? And, or I could have another quiz question. What is the average total claim amount if the claim reason is collision or hail and policy type is corporate? So then I have to drag and drop the policy type here, and I need to select the corporate, right? The filter may have multiple columns. So see that? So you'll be able to answer quiz questions like this, right? So you may want to be logged into Cognos if you're answering the quiz questions. You know how to find out how many columns are in data, right? So that it should be easy, but I'm helping you with the last two questions because some students in the past, some students were not sure how to approach this. So now you know, okay? So let's just remove and remove. And there's also a video about something along this line. Okay. And remember I showed you we created the embedded filter. Oops. We created the filter that is here. See this? If I click here, if I look at the property, there is no way to know how I defined that filter if I did not use a descriptive filter name, right? So now to use that filter, you just drag and drop here. So this is the average total claim amount if the policy type is personal, in a vehicle is small. See? So you define the filter in if it's a complex expression, you're gonna define it in a data module, and then you're gonna use it as you need, right? You just use it. You just drag and drop to use it. Okay. So that's that part. Let's go back. Well, there are some topics here that can be covered in a different order, but I showed you this thing here, the starting points, right? I showed you the relationship diagram. There's also a video about this. I showed you the data source section, right? The pins, we're gonna cover pins next time. Pins is just a set of visualization set aside, right? I'll show you that next time. Okay, I showed you here is how you save the exploration, but now we're gonna get more serious and more serious stuff, okay? So, what do you exactly you have? I selected the visualization. You can have, see here, undo, redo. You can click on the create. If you click on create, it's gonna add a new card and you add a new visualization from scratch. Summary, it's just gonna show the different visualizations that you might be interested in, related, the visualization related to the one that you're looking at. Then you can delete the card if you need to, etc. Okay. So then you can also navigate between your cards. See, I added 3 visualizations. So at the moment I have 3 cards, right? And you can also change which fields are being visualized, right? And to add a field note, you can drag and drop, and also like if you can see this, if you click here, I can select the field myself. Also, see this here, you have some insights about the total claim amount. You click on this and you see insights, right? So here, I'm gonna click, those are the visualizations that I have at the moment, right? Uh, Now we create a navigation path, right? So let's go here, create a new visualization card. And sometimes I always, oh, it's a tree map. Okay. So I have to go here. I have to choose type and I need to find the tree map visualization, right? So not the heat map, but that's a tree map. The tree map visualization shows part of a whole. So I'm gonna use my hierarchy, but this is what I want to do. I want my size to be the relative number of customers that are in the area. And I want the area to be the location, like the state, for example. Here are the fields. If you see asterisk, it means I must specify something to see the visualization. So I'm gonna go to my navigation path and I'm gonna drag the state here. Okay, and for the size, I want to look at the number of customers. So let's just drag the customer and okay, oops, customer, here, size. So how do I know? It could be either, how do I know if it's number of customers or number of claims? Oh, because the customer may have more than one claim, right? So let's take a look at this. I'm going to look at the summarized property and I'm going to see what it said. This is doing count distinct. So it's looking at the number of customers, not the number of claims, but number of customers. Because a customer may have submitted more than one claim, okay? So now what? You can tell just by looking at this, you can see that Missouri probably has the most customers, right? See, if you hover, it's gonna tell you uh the number of customers. Alternatively, you can click here and it shows you which data is being visualized, right? But remember, this is a hierarchy, so I can go here, right click, I can right click on the Missouri. Then I can do drill down. And now my visualization is going to show by location code within Missouri. See, this is a location code. The state is Missouri. This is a different location codes and the number of customers. So this is when you use the hierarchy here, okay? In this case, I'm just showing the number of customers. I just want to see. So see this, most of my customers apparently are in Missouri and the suburban, right? Suburban is the most popular here in Missouri. And if I want to go up, I can go back up, right? Back. I select back and it's going to take me back up, right? So that's that. There is a very important topic here, and it's called the driver analysis. So it's very important. So we're going to go to explorations. Well, I'm going to create new card here, and I'm going to choose that one is in a it's in a it's in a oops, I never can find. Oh, here it is, advanced analytics, right? So I'm gonna look at the spiral first, spiral, right? And let's close this panel. Let's close this. I can do, this is how I can do it. The target is total claim amount, right? So just type here, I can do it this way. Total claim amount. And what is this? This is, it shows the drivers of the total claim amount. One driver, it's a one-way driver, it's a single column that predicts the total claim amount. And then the two-way drive, two drivers, it's a combination of two columns, and this is a combination of more than two columns. This is important because this is going to be what? The decision tree, right? The combination of columns. But here, let me uncheck this and uncheck this. So each driver is represented as a pin. The closer the pin to the center, the higher is the predictive strength of the driver. What is it important is that location code is a driver with the highest predictive strength. When we do the decision tree for total claim amount, location code is a column that will be used for the first split of the tree. It's a one-way driver with the highest predictive strength. So see that this piece is important, okay? I know you cannot visualize, you cannot see the visualizations from here, right? But you do need to look at this strength. You do need, this is important because this is used for the split in a decision tree. So this one is the first one. Then it's looking at the vehicle class, okay? So let's click that back. Now I'm gonna save, I have not saved it. Somewhere here, I added the driver analysis visualization. Driver analysis is basically the visualization we just looked at, but it's like kind of like sliced. Okay, look at it this way. And it's just gonna show each driver as a pin. And the closer the pin to the right, the stronger is the predictive strength. And you can just click on each one individually and it's gonna generate the visualization based on the data types of the predictors. Okay, but what I'm actually interested is this, the decision tree. So one way to create a decision tree is just to take this and click add, or you can add it as a new visualization. There is a decision tree visualization type, right? Okay, I'm gonna touch the decision tree topic today, but in the next session, I'll be covering more detail. So that's the total claim amount, and to cover this, I will change to the full screen. Oh wait, what is this? Do you have to build a hierarchy? Well, I'm not saying that that's something that you have to do, but well, I defined my own hierarchy. I wanted to look at the location code within the state. It depends on what you're trying to do. Depends on your analysis. It depends on the data. Okay. It depends on what you're trying to do. Okay. So that's what it is. Okay, but I mean, I'm telling you this, like, if 100 people write a paper on the same data, it's going to be a different paper. Okay. All right. So where I'm trying to show it in a full screen because it's easier to read. Otherwise, it's harder to read the tree if it's not on a full screen. So there's something for you to keep in mind as you're taking a screenshot, right? Let's see. Okay, no worries. Now we're gonna just close the details. I'm just resizing it because I want people to see what I show. Okay. So now this here, it represents all data. Each node, it represents the same, the statistically similar data, if you will. Okay. Okay. So, oops, something is going on. Okay. Now I'm gonna click save again. It keeps on resizing, but take a look at this. This is a node here on the left, right? This is all data. And then it's looking at the location code, and based on the location code, we choose the path that we follow, right? So suppose that the location is rural, it's gonna take this branch here. But if I hover over the node, if I just click on the node, it's gonna show me the average total claim amount for all data that falls under that node, right? Oops. Sometimes it just not, oh, it just showed. I need to slow down. Well, it shows the average total claim amount for all data in that node, and it also shows the number of records that fall into that node and the percentage of records. So this is all data. So what you need to do, you will traverse this tree to predict the total claim amount. The color code of the node represents the average total claim amount. The darker the node, the higher is the average total claim amount. So I told you that the predictor with the highest strength is important. See, it's used as a split. And then remember this, the branches can be expanded and collapsed, right? Let's collapse it. Collapse. I collapsed it. So see this, it's showing. See, if you collapse it, I just want to show something. If you see that underline, if you see that bold line here, it means that this node is expandable, okay? If you don't see that line, it's not expandable. See this for rural, I got it, right? And it shows the percentage of data to which this applies. So if the location is rural, average total claim amount is about $109, something like that. Suppose that location is urban, then it goes this path, right? Well, it shows the average total claim amount, but yet the algorithm decided that we can do better. We can gain more information if we use another predictor in addition to location code, right? It's an information gain. I'm going to click on urban, vehicle class. That gives us more insights, perhaps. See, if it's a two-door, it's one. See, the top, it's a two-door. Average total claim amount, 280. And here is 460. So it's going to try to find the best set of columns that to use as predictor. It's going to try to find the best set that gives you information, gives you enough insights, let's say. So let's look at this. This is suburban. This is where most of the data falls under, in the suburban location, right? So that's an average total claim amount for suburban. And then you look at the vehicle type. If it's a two-door car, you take this path. But are we done? No, because this expands further, etc. Then it's looking at the coverage type, and you select the path based on the coverage type. But basic coverage type also breaks into the marital status. See, so now we're going to be done over here. I can do this. I can select my rule, right? I can select, see this, a double click on the rule to highlight the rule. Now I'm going to go from here and I'm going to read this rule. So I'll say if location is suburban, vehicle class is a two-door or four-door, right? Coverage type is basic and marital status is married or divorced, then average total claim amount is $367. And I see the percentage of data to which this rule applies, right? The number of records to which this rule applies, etc. So you just traverse the tree from left to the right. But there is another visualization that shows you, that explicitly shows you the percentage of rules to which the percentage of data to which the rule applies. So that visualization is called tree sunburst. So you see that? In the beginning, this is all data. Then you have urban, suburban, and rural. If you see this solid line over here, solid arc, it means that that piece is expandable, right? So I can expand the suburban and it's gonna show me, see this, first of all, I see that about 2/3 of my data are suburban. And then I can see the percentage of data within suburban location that the car is luxury. See, luxury car. I can hover and I can still see. The average. But this, it does not visualize the rule. It's a visualization for percentage of data to which the rule applies. But I can use this too. I can look at this two simultaneously, right? If I expand one, the other one expands. If I collapse one, the other one collapses. You see? And I think in the video, I'm looking at two at the same time when I show you. And you can expand this one, and you can keep going, right? Until it's expandable. But again, see, it's another way. And here are the rules written in English. So why are we looking at all of this? Well, suppose that I have a new claim, right? And I know my customer information, I know the vehicle information. So I want to estimate the total claim amount. How am I going to do it? I'm going to try to see the best rule that matches the best, right? So suppose that, I know it's a suburban location, I know the vehicle class, and I know employment status, so I can go ahead and traverse my tree and just see the estimated. It's an average. It's estimated. In the next session, I'll show you how to do the tree for categorical columns because you can predict the categorical values also. But a few things to keep in mind that the decision tree predictive strength must be, I believe it's above 10% for the tree to be generated. If it's too low, it won't generate the tree. So for some columns, you might see that the tree didn't generate it because the predictive strength of the tree is too low. Just know that. Right, so you've got the three representations, and few more things is that it's going to keep splitting until further information can be gained. Also, there is a limit on number of nodes, it's 36 nodes. Then if the split makes less than 25 data rows in the node, then it's gonna be merged again. So in other words, each leaf node or each terminal node cannot have less than 25 records. That's how this application works, okay? Oh, and another thing I forgot to mention, suppose that your data set has more than 10,000 data. It will randomly select the first 10,000, okay? It will randomly select well, not the first, it will randomly select 10,000 out of all your data. We're gonna do a random sample, okay? Just know that. So this is the tree, and I have to exit the full screen mode to go to the slides. I showed you this part. Oh, this was just how to add visualizations. And you can use the assistant. You can do related visualization, etc. But I'll show you, hold on. This is, I just spelled this out for you. So you're gonna have the slides. Another thing is that you can edit scope. Well, in this case, I have less than 250 columns, so no problem, right? But if I had more than 250 columns, then it would select 250 columns for me. It would just select whatever it believes it should select. But if I go to this fields here, I could change it. So scope basically shows which columns are selected for the visualization. So if I had more than 250 and something was not selected, I could just select it from here. I could just drag and drop the column. Or if something was selected that I don't want to select, I could just remove it. I could just click here to remove. So just know what edit scope is. In your case, there are no data sets with more than 250 columns, but it's just for the information. Or sometimes you might think, okay, well, I have a total claim amount. I probably don't want to use that column for, I have a claim amount. I don't want to use that column for total claim amount analysis, right? So I can unselect it, okay? There is no right or wrong, but you need to have an explanation about what you're doing, okay? Now, driver analysis, I showed you that too, right? So the combination of more than two drivers is going to be a decision tree, right? So, and that was the decision tree we looked at, right? I showed you the rules. Oh, remember that the vocabulary, some books use it, some books call it terminal node, some books call it leaf node. So you may see the same term said differently, okay? All right, so this is a sunburst, and I showed you that, and there is also a video. All right, the assistant. You may use an assistant on a home page, or I like to use the assistant straight from this exploration. Why? Because if I use it on a home page, I will have to specify the data source, right? But what if I want to use it on this data source and I want to add visualizations to my exploration, right? So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna click here. I'm just gonna add a new card for right now. This guy here, this is the assistant. The point is asking questions in natural language about your data, right? So here it's just telling me that this is a data that was selected as a source. See? No problem, right? It picked it up. I don't need to specify what data I'm going to use. Here are some useful things that you may read about it. You might learn more. But let's see, let's do show. Let's see what it does. If I click on the show, it's gonna show me the fields that I have. See this? I can do show more, and it's gonna show me the fields in the data. See that? Show more, show less, it's gonna show me the fields. But if I scroll up, I should see the command that it ran. Okay. Oh well, it just shows it. I did the shows column. Okay, I did the shows column. Now what I can do, I can click on any column that I want to look at for more details, right? The big difference between what's in the video and in this version, it's showing the name of the file that was used as a source to create the data modules. This is claims and weather at XLS, and this is a marital status. And let me see. I'm trying to find the total claim amount. If I don't see it, then I'm gonna choose something else. Okay, marital status, employment status. Okay, let's just, oh, here it is. I'm going to click on it, right? And it's gonna give me more information about this column. See this usage, measure, etc., right? Then what I could do is I could, this is some of the interesting fields that you might want to look at, right? If you're looking at this field, total claim amount, you might also want to look at this field. That's what it's telling me. Now I want to look at what influences total claim amount. I'm going to click on show influences. And it's going to give me some visualizations here, right? See, those are the visualizations. And I can choose any visualization that it gives me. Oh, see this, in this case, it just giving me this spiral diagram and a set of drivers. I could take that and drag and drop, right? I could do this. I add visualization this way, drag and drop, see? That's it. That's one way to add visualizations, right? Then what else you could do is you can do suggested questions. I would say suggested questions, I believe. Suggest questions here. When you do suggest questions, well, suppose that I'm not sure what I want to ask, right? It's gonna give me some suggested questions. And do you see this? It's showing me those are the questions in natural English language about my data. Which effective due date has the top average income? What can impact average income, right? Compare total claim amount and claim amount by coverage. So those are the sample, but I can do something similar and I can put I can put my own question, but I can do something similar but just use different columns, right? Or I can say what impacts income, just saying this way. And it's gonna give me this, see? This is what impact, this is for income, right? I'm just giving you example. It's gonna give me this visualization. Okay. Then I can click on show more and to see more insights. Right? Okay. So those are just anything else that I want to look at. Let's click on income to see more. Here is a list of fields that might appear in your data. Okay, I just click on this. And see, those are the fields that you might be interested to look at. Or let's say show insights, and I'm gonna select, let's select annual premium, which is calculated column, but that's okay. Let's do show insight. Let's see. Oh, it just given me the top, right? And why do you think it's this high? Well, I had to change. I had to change the to the average, right? But let's see. Okay, it's a total. It's a sum, so that's not really. It's not really helpful. But see this? You can click here, and it's gonna give you more insight about this column. So remember, show you do suggest questions, right? And it's gonna show you the suggested questions about the data. And if you want to repeat some of these commands, it generates the command. If I want to see it again, I can just click on it and click the arrow. And it will show me again the same question, right? Sorry, can't find. Sometimes, oh yeah, it worked, it worked, it worked. It's here, see, it worked. I get more insight, see, I can do show less and show more. Oh, yeah, sometimes it's happening. Sometimes it's happening. Okay, well, oh, because you see this, if it happening, if it happens, you can just do this. You can clear, and then you can start all over. Okay, you can start all over. You can say something like show, and then what do you want to show? Show average, right? And what they want to show average income, right? Show average income. What's an average income? You click here, and it's just gonna show you the average income. See that? So that's basically questions about your data. And that's another way to look at it, right? And what if I want to do show average, average income by marital status? There we go. It's going to show me average income by marital status. And I can just drag and drop this visualization into my exploration workbook. That's what it is. You'll be asked to use this. You can use this this assistant anywhere. You can use it in a main page, but then if you do it, you have to specify the data. Okay. And what some students did, they won't be able to do that anymore. But when they specified the data on the main page, they selected the data in team content instead of selecting the data from my content. Now, if you do that, you're gonna get an error because you cannot run any analysis on a file that is located in the team content directly. You no longer can do it. I changed permission because if several people try to run analysis on the same file, it did something bad, and we had endless outage. So no more. Okay. So this is exploration. Another thing is some of you might be thinking, what if, so I'm in the middle of exploration and suddenly I want to add another calculation. This is what you can do. You can close this exploration. You can reopen the data module and add the calculation. Then when you open the exploration again, that new calculation will be in there. Okay? Now, just think about it. What do I have here? I have claims and weather data set. I use the data set to build the data module, and I use the data module to build the exploration. If I go ahead, if I'm not careful, if I delete this claims and weather data, what's going to happen? This will become invalid, and this will become invalid. Even if I upload another file with the same name, right? If I get another file with the same name, it's still not going to work. Why? Because each file has an ID. It has a unique identifier associated with it. And the related files are associated with that specific number. So if you delete this file here, everything where that file is used will become invalid. So please don't do that. Be careful with the deletion. And sad story, somebody did it on the last day of class, but thankfully they saved the screenshots of the work. So I'm just telling you. But what happens if you delete the data module? Well, this claims and weather exploration will become invalid. So please, please, please watch it out and don't delete. I just put some examples of the assistant. Okay. Oh, there is also the comparison card. That is like, for example, suppose that I want to, let's go back to exploration. I want to compare some visualization for males and females, right? So here is a visualization and I want to compare it. I want to have something for males and a female. So what you can do is, first of all, you go to here you go to fields and you can add the filter. can go to the source, or I can just type it here. It might be faster this way. And I'm gonna put something like it's gender, right? Oops. Oh, sorry, gender, right? Oh, I may have to minimize the zoom for this to work here. Oops. Okay, go filter. Oops, still not doing it. Okay, it has to do with the screen resolution. So I'm just gonna go do this gender, drag and drop, local filters, gender, and I'm gonna select the female. Okay. Now what I'll do, I'm gonna duplicate this visualization. Okay. I have this visualization, right? I can go here to my visualization card and I'm going to duplicate this, right? Duplicate. And then on the duplicate, I'm gonna go back to my filters here and I'm gonna change the female to a male, right? So filter, I'll click on the filter and then I'm gonna select male instead of the female. Done. Now I can click to select both of these visualizations, then click here and select compare. What it will do is it will add another visualization with these two visualizations side by side. Like for instance, sometimes I want to know for the rural location, does the gender have some kind of impact on total claim amount? See, so I can compare side by side for the gender. So that's what comparison is. And you're given chart A, right? You can look at the chart A. I believe in the first one we selected the female, right? And another one we selected the male. But if you're not sure, you can click on the widget filters and it's gonna show you. So the first one is a male, the other one is a female, right? So in this case, approximately the same total claim amount, average total claim amount for males and females. See? So you can see it this way. You can do side by side. Okay, so that's what comparison is. All right, so I know it's a lot, guys. Sorry if it's really too much. You'll need to watch this more than once. And also for you, I have a set of videos and I keep on adding. All right. Oops. This is a videos playlist. Here is a link. And for that playlist, I'm using the same data set that I used tonight. Okay. Some of you want to, well, let's save this and close it. Some of you like to follow along as you are watching. So then you go to the team content and you're gonna see there is a walkthrough data that I used today. And what you could do is you can just copy the file to my content and work with it, okay? Now you cannot create the data exploration from the data that is saved in my content. It's turned off right now. You don't see that option because doing so created problems. You have to work with the data in my content, okay? Let me see. Oh, sure. And I keep adding to the playlist. Last semester I added a video on how to create the histogram. It's a little bit tricky because explicitly there is no histogram visualization. So I had to use you watch it, you'll see I have to use the column chart, and then I had to define the binning for the column. So watch that video, you will like it. Sometimes you have to use out of the box approach to do something. So basically, some of the videos are students' questions. Somebody asked me how to do the histogram, so I figured it's better to create a video. It will help others as well, okay? And I'm thinking about more videos, but well, keep watching the playlist. I keep adding them as time goes by, okay? So, do we have questions? I know it's a lot. I hope I did not, bore you or something.
That was
Yeah.
great. No, never. Yelena, they are asking the next session for date. And then there's a question, I think, from someone in the chat. definition of columns. Sorry, just saw that.
Hmm? What's that?
Well, they want to know when the next session is. That's for sure.
Oh, the definition. What was it? Oh, you are asking the column properties? Oh, okay. That's why I like to use a data module instead of actual data because this is I go to claim whether. Oh, you mean the data description, right? I would have to look that up. I would have to look that up. But in general, if you go here, this is how you can find the properties. This is in the data module. You can click on the properties. Like for example, let's see, like employment status, right? You can do right click and you select properties, and it's going to show you the column properties, right? But if you want to look at the dataset description, I need to check if there is something in the course content. I need to check. But if not, then I can, I'll find it. But for some of these data sets, okay, but is it the question, the dataset description? I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand the question.
Hi, this is Moshumita. I did the question actually. So, while I was going through the assignment and
Mm-hmm.
in the insurance claim CSV data, so there I have a column names the charges. So I just confused whether that amount is for the customers are paying for the health insurance and
Mm-hmm.
not claiming, because some of the field have the claim insurance claim as zero. So I just want to know, do we have any options to understand the meaning of this field while I were trying to analyze the data for our assignment, ma'am?
I thought I already did this for you. Oh, take a look at this. This is what I did for you. I did something for you. Uh-huh. See this? Oops. Click here, details, and I put this here. I already put it. Oops. It's in the properties. I put this information for you. Ah, I answered this question.
Okay, I can see that.
I did that because we had that question from last semester, so I just went in and I edited it. But also, if you look at that file, you copy the file to my content, right? This is the right way to do it. And in my content, you're gonna have this data. And what I did was, in the description, you can go here and you can look, let's see, it's gonna be in the details, I think. Nope, not the details. It's gonna be in the properties rather. All right, in the properties, you're gonna see it because I edited it. And when you copy the data to your folder, to your personal folder, you're gonna see that, see?
Okay, sounds
It's
good,
gonna
ma'am.
show
Thank
nicely.
you.
Yeah, sure. So I took care of it because there were questions about it. So I
Thank
knew.
you.
So you got that part? Oh, I did not announce the date for next session. I did not explicitly announce. It's going to be approximately in 4 weeks from now. I tried to do it on Wednesday, but things come up. So I'll have it when we get closer to it, okay? In about 4 weeks. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, guys? So, and for some of the data sets, I even gave you the hint. So look at the descriptions. I put some hints in there, some useful. What's it? Are you gonna have access to PowerPoint? I'm gonna send it to the professor. I'll send the slides. So it will be posted for you, okay? No worries. So, any more questions, guys? No? Okay, if there are no more questions, we're gonna call it a night then. And I want to thank everyone for joining, okay? So I'm gonna stop the recording.
Thank you, Yelena. Thank you so much.
Sure.